Daddy's got a new toy, and to celebrate, picanha. Welcome back to the FOGO Life, my friends. As always, I'm your host, Captain Ron. Guess what? Big Green Egg came out with a new egg accessory that I'm one of the first to get, and it's a new rotisserie. I am so excited. I know that some of you have had a rotisserie for years, but this is a brand new thing from Big Green Egg, and like I said, I am excited about it. Now, normally this is the part where I explain everything, where we're gonna do everything. No way, I'm too excited to get started. So I just wanna rip this thing open and check it out. Open sesame. Woo-wee. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning. So let's continue on here, see what we got. This looks like, my guess is this is gonna be the motor. So, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Oh boy, I need a knife. I love opening these bags of goodies. Oh yeah. Now, I don't think this part needs any explanation. I don't think I have to tell you what this is, but it's for sword fighting. On guard. And finally, the most important part, the big giant donut. Look at this, you'll notice this. It's really cool the way to design this because it's thinner in the back and wider in the front. The reason being, it's gonna sit in the egg flat and you can actually close the dome on it as you're using it. Excellent, excellent planning. Now, let's put it in the Big Green Egg and see how she fits. All right, first we're gonna take this motor and it just slides right onto this groove right here and sits in like that. Now, we will have to plug it in, so you're gonna need an electrical source. Next, we're gonna put these tines or forks right onto the skewer. Make sure they're pointing at each other so when you put your meat on there, it holds it in place. Makes sense, right? Good. Then we set it in here, and you'll see that it fits right inside the motor. It's a square end, fits in the square motor. And now let's take it for a spin. As I said, we're gonna be cooking picanha. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a top sirloin with a fat cap on it. It's also called rump steak, it's called culotte. It's got about 152 different names. If you go to a Brazilian steakhouse and you have that meat on that long skewer and they come and they cut it off like this, guess what this is? Yep, it's exactly that. So, we're gonna show you how to prepare it just like that. Now, we're starting with USDA Prime. If you want a good product at the end, start with a good product in the beginning. So, let's cut her open and see what we've got. So we've got our beautiful picanha here. You can see it's this gorgeous piece of meat and it has this massive fat cap on there. So the first thing we're gonna do is trim that fat cap off. No, do not trim the fat cap off. That's where so much of the flavor comes from. It's gonna drip. Wait till you see this thing on the rotisserie. When I talk about drip, you will see what I mean. Drip, drip, drippity drip. So let me show you how to cut this the proper way. That's important. The important part about this is when you want to put it on the skewers, we want to trim down the sides of the skewers like they do in the Brazilian restaurants. It's important that you cut it the proper way with or against the grain. So let me show you what we're going to do here. In this piece of meat, you can see here, the grains are running this way. If I take my knife and run it, hold it along the grain, they're kind of running this way here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it against the grain. We're going to cut it against the grain so that when it's on that horseshoe shape on the skewer and we shave it off the side, it's all gonna be cutting against the grain. That's exactly how we want it. So remember, when you're putting your picanha on a skewers, against the grain. I'm gonna give you some loose guidelines on the thickness and how to cut it. The first thing I'm gonna do, I kind of marked it a little bit here against the grain. We're gonna cut this little triangle end off here. There's a lot of fat in there, so we're really not gonna miss this. So we're gonna get rid of this, cut it off, and we are going to get rid of that, okay? Now what I like to do when I'm cutting picanha is I like to go 3 fingers, all right? I use my 3 fingers here. So I measure it off, give it a shot like that, and cut here. Now if I was just making steaks out of this and not putting on a skewer, I'd probably go 2 fingers, okay? But since we're doing that, we're gonna go that. Again, 3 fingers, across the grain, just like that. And we have got ourselves 3 beautiful pieces of picanha. Look at the gorgeous marbling in here. This is gonna be so full of flavor. And that fat cap, don't let it scare you. You want that on there. Now that we've got it all sliced, the next step is to put it on the skewer. So, very simple technique. We're just gonna take our slice of picanha like that, fold it over into a horseshoe shape, just like that. It's starting to look familiar at all? So we're gonna do that. And then what I like to do is hold it like this, take my skewer, and just push it down into it, right through the middle of it. Voila, piece number 1. Now what I like to do here, you see there's some longer ones and shorter ones. What I like to do is put it so that it's pierced into the shorter ones, so that it's held in place doubly. It's held in with the fork tines, and it's held in place here. And now, let's do the same with the other two pieces. The one thing I want you to know is the fat cap should always go in the same spot. This way we have better control over our cook. And we're gonna do the same thing. Again, you have it skewered on the forks on the thin one, like that. Now we're gonna have to adjust this. Once we put it on the, we can measure it out on the rotisserie. We want it to be right in the center of the grill. So once we put it on there, we can always move this. It's always easier to center it before the fire's lit. So put it in place, okay? Once it sits there, like I said, we're pretty close. We're gonna shift it a little bit this way. So we just loosen up our screws. Loosen both of them, and we're going to slide the whole thing right about there. We're right in the center now. And make sure that your screw is on the flat part of the skewer. The skewer is square, so make sure that the screw is on the flat part, otherwise it won't hold tight. All right, so we've got it all centered up. Time to light the grill. Hey, you notice this end one here, the little flappy piece, it doesn't look perfect. That's okay, don't worry about it. It's still gonna cook up beautifully, and it's gonna taste delicioso. Wait, before we light the grill, let's salt the meat, because we always like to salt and season our meat a while before we cook it. So while we're lighting the fire, this will be seasoning itself. What a great idea, right? So what we're gonna use today is, I have all natural sea salt, really coarse, for good luck. I know, this seems like a lot of salt, but trust me, when you're doing this, you're gonna want it. First of all, this meat is gonna drip so much, we're going to lose some of that salt. The other part is that it's gonna create a nice barrier on it, and it's really gonna give us a phenomenal crust. This is the way to do it. Just trust me and do it. Now let's light the grill. I just wanna talk about something here for a second. I have a kick-ash basket in here. Now, this is 4.5 years old, this kick-ash basket, and it's still going good. And if you're not sure how to use it, once you're done cooking and it's all cooled off, I like to do it the next time I cook, I just take it, I'm outside, but you can place it over your garbage, whatever, and just shake it out. Gets all the coals out, gets all the ashes out, gets all the little pieces out, and leaves you with nothing but good burnable charcoal. All right, now you see we got a nice bed of coals here going, but what I want to do, because we're using a rotisserie, is I'm going to bank all my coals towards the back end of it. I don't want a super hot direct fire right underneath it. So if I can move my coals as much as I can to the back and bank them like that, it's going to make for an awesome cook. Plus it prevents flare-ups and it prevents you from burning the meat. And now, time to put my meat in. Okay, it's clicked in. Now we just turn it on, and we're taking our rotisserie for a spin. There are two schools of thought on this too. You can leave it with the dome open and cook like that, or you can close it like that, leave the top open, and cook it like that. It's up to you. Just make sure that you have your vents open, get good airflow, let that fire burn, baby, burn. Now, you notice the flames, but if you notice, the flames are kind of mostly back behind the meat. They're not scorching the meat. That's why we bank the coals to the back. This picanha is so full of marbling and so full of fat that it's gonna just continue to drip as it cooks. I think our first outer edge is ready, so I think I'm gonna pull this off, and we're gonna trim off the first layer, and I'm gonna show you how to do this the right way. So let's turn her off here. Okay, stop her from spinning. And all you gotta do is simply pull it out of there. Look at that. Woo! Beautiful. Is that gorgeous or what? All right, now that is absolutely perfect. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. So let's take this bottom fork off. Okay, like that, and it just slides off as such. I'll set it over here. I'm gonna take this top one, and slide this too, if we can. It's really in there. Yep, it's really in there. Okay. Just had to break it loose a little. Now comes my favorite part. This is so cool. All we're gonna do now is just slice straight down the skewer, okay? Thin slices, nice thin slices. Look at that. Is that gorgeous or what? Oh yeah, baby. And you turn it around, and what you do to the one side, you do to the other. So, we might have let it go just a little bit longer than what I would have liked, but Now that we put it back on, let me explain what we're doing. We want that nice crust on the outside, so we're letting that spin up while we taste this deliciousness. Now, you can eat it any which way. You could just eat it just like this. I mean, take it and pop it in. It's just outstanding the way that it is, you know? You've been to a Brazilian restaurant, right about now is when I flip my coin over and tell them to come back and give me more. But what I'm gonna do now, I like to eat it like this, okay? It's kind of, sometimes it can be a little bit traditional. Take some shaved Parmesan, like a nice little chunk of Parmesan. Just put it right on top there and pop it in the old mouth. Oh my God. I don't care if I'm talking my mouth full. Good Lord, is that good. If you haven't had picanha, you don't know what you're missing. I'm not even joking a little bit. Good Lord, that's good. So many people tell me that's my favorite cut of steak. I always say a really good New York strip is my favorite. This might take the cake right here. Absolutely outstanding. That new Big Green Egg Rotisserie, absolutely fantastic. It works like a champion. I tell you, I'm so glad they finally came out with it. I've been asking for it for a while. A lot of us have been. And they finally listened and they put it out there and they did a great job. It's designed beautifully. It shuts beautifully when you close the dome. The whole thing was done really well. First class, just like I would expect from Big Green Egg or from FOGO charcoal, the way we do things. So if you're gonna do it, try it out with a little Parmesan. Get that nice crisp on the outside and then shave it, put it back on. You'll have that same crisp again next time around. So this was fantastic. Go down to your Big Green Egg dealer right now, get yourself a rotisserie because it's a can't miss. Do your chickens on it, turkeys, prime ribs. I mean, you could do anything on the rotisserie. Get a basket and make wings in them. Oh my God, outstanding. It's one of the best ways to do wings. The other one's a vortex. I'm gonna show you that at a different time. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish here and end this now because I wanna go eat the rest of this picanha. So I want you to remember, subscribe, like, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment down below. Please, I'm begging you, leave me a comment down below. I wanna hear from you, okay? Let's build up the comments on this video. I bet you won't do it. Please do it. Anyway, remember, I want you to get out and grill, all right? All the recipes, everything is down in the description. The links to anything that we used in this video is all in the description. So remember to get out and grill, like I said, and I'll see you the next time on the FOGO Life.